they have been moving this money, running into billions of naira. So some of the policemen that they have been using to protect and guide the money through the airport down to the west, they now play the smart one. So when they got exposed, or when that became an issue, they just went on and said, well, they are working for the police IGs are where. So this morning, the same Egbetokun decided to send this PPRO to say, no, he's not involved. Though. The scandal is just some element of the police who have been doing this shady deal, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't want you to believe them, but I just want you to hear the defense of the police IG on top of this scandal. Yeah.
The Nigeria Police Force has noted with concern the recent allegations circulating in the media, suggesting that the Inspector General of Police, IGP Olukayode Adeolu Egbetokun, PAD, NPM, is shielding a cartel accused of smuggling suspicious new banknotes from the Central Bank of Nigeria. The Nigeria Police Force categorically refutes these claims, condemning them as baseless and orchestrated attempts to tarnish the IGP's reputation and integrity of the force. The incident in question, which occurred at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport on August 26, 2023, has been thoroughly investigated. The officers involved, DSP Peter Ejike, a lawyer in charge of Zone 7 Legal Section, Inspector Ekende Edwin, Inspector Esther Okafor, and Sergeant Talabi Kayode, all attached to the Zone 7 headquarters, Abuja, were found culpable and sanctioned appropriately. These officers, led by Inspector Esther Okafor, on the instruction of DSP Peter Ejike, unlawfully arrested Andrew Eja, an employee of Fat Cargo Nigeria Limited, who was conveying the cash sum of 74,950,000 naira only on behalf of clients. Acting without authorization, they detained Mr. Eja at the Zone 7 headquarters, Abuja, and deliberately misrepresented the recovered amount as 31,790,000 naira only. The officers further demanded a percentage of the funds to suppress the case. Upon being contacted by the alleged owners of the money, the officers claimed that the sum they had recovered from the arrested suspect was 31,790,000 naira only, and requested a percentage of the money to jeopardize investigation and suppress the case. Outraged by their actions, the money owners petitioned the force headquarters, Abuja, and the matter was directed to the IGP monitoring unit for investigation. During the process, the cash sum of 31,790,000 naira was recovered from the officers, who claimed that it was the total money recovered from Andrew Eja during his arrest. After a tense investigation and a series of trials before duly constituted disciplinary panels, it was discovered that the officers took photographs of the suspect and the sacks of monies at the point of arrest, but claimed the phone they used was damaged and consequently lost, in an attempt to conceal their misconduct. However, forensic intelligence showed that this group of officers conspired and stole part of the money, amounting to 43,160,000 naira only, and tasked one of them to move the cash out of the Federal Capital Territory for hiding pending when the heat blows over. They thereafter resorted to several tricks and gimmicks in order to cover their tracks, one of which is the spread of this false narrative and misinformation to several online blogs and newspaper platforms. These officers have been suspended, being found culpable of serious misconduct, tampering with exhibits, abuse of office, corrupt practice, illegal duty, and acts unbecoming of a police officer. The movement of such an amount of money by the alleged cargo company could have been investigated and handled professionally by the police. But the officers were carried away by greed and therefore acted criminally and unprofessionally. It is pertinent to note that the circulating false narrative is a sponsored misinformation cultivated by mischief makers who seek to divert attention from the criminal acts of the police officers by attempting to join issues with the Inspector General of Police. The affected officers will be prosecuted upon conclusion of due legal and administrative procedures. We urge the public and the media to refrain from spreading this false narrative aimed at tainting the reputation of the Inspector General of Police. Such misinformation undermines public trust and detracts from the ongoing efforts of the current administration to reform the police force by eradicating unprofessional.
Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi.
Do you believe him? That's all I'm going to ask. Do you believe that story? The tale by the moonlight that Adejobi Muyiwa was reading out to you. We don't know how much money they have been smuggling out of the Central Bank of Nigeria. But you and I, let me ask you, how much is 75 million naira that you probably would be arrested for by the police attached to the airport, and then they will now take part of the money for themselves? Does the whole story make any sense to you? That is the contraption, and a lot going on in that place. You understand what is called state capture? That is exactly what you are experiencing. You are experiencing kakistocracy, where unscrupulous, worst, least qualified, and most unscrupulous elements or citizens are running the country. That is what you have in that contraption. As some are looting in dollars, others are looting in naira, and they are not looting in naira like that. So they are taking cash that you have no idea. Just yesterday, you saw the news of the EFCC confiscating 753 houses, duplexes, and apartments from the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiole. Now, Emefiole on record printed 27.5 trillion naira for Bokuwari, which nobody can actually say this is what they used the money for. Right now, and this was like in 8 years, by the way, under the Isaleko Emefiole Kadobi, they have already printed over 22 trillion naira in 18 months. 18 months, Tifnubu has printed over 22 trillion naira. So when Emefiole was printing money for Bokuwari, he was printing money for himself too. Because that's the only way you can explain how they managed to get 345 billion naira from the Central Bank of Nigeria with no traces, no record, nothing. But they were able to put it on their real estate, where they were planning to build 774 duplexes and then apartments in Abuja. That's the only explanation. Was that 75 million naira new notes, newly minted naira? Was that the only money that was traveling through the airport in Abuja that day? Or was it just the only one the police officers decided to corner for themselves? And why is the police IG hiding that information from the public since August? This is December. August 2024. That was 4 months ago. Until the scandal broke out just 2 days ago and yesterday. It never deemed it fit to tell the public about these officers. Maybe the names are even fake names. The people that raised the alarm, according to the report we got to, they were the guys who were moving the money, the cartel, who said that there is a cover-up here and there, and somehow, it's like Egbetokun is involved. They actually said he's involved, not it's like he's involved. The useless old geriatric, who is called Ape Babalola, is about to trigger something in that contraption. In case if you are not following, this man, this old criminal, has been one of the people who have been compromising the Nigerian judiciary. He is accused in a book that he's been using his criminal link to further compromise the judiciary and then occurring judgments in favor of those who have been able to pay his bill up to the Supreme Court level. This old criminal, Ape Babalola, is from Ekiti State, and I heard he's like a 95 years old man. Currently, is holding a human rights activist, Dele Farotimi. Now, he was accused of using his influence, to control the corrupt, compromised judiciary in Nigeria. And guess what? He denied that. However, within a space of 48 hours, Ape Babalola has confirmed everything that Dele Farotimi said about him. At first, he said he's been defamed. So therefore, he commissioned the criminal police officers from Ekiti State to go and kidnap Dele Farotimi, a crime that is synonymous to Nigeria because they did kidnap Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya, to commit an international crime, which has put a bit of a stigma on that contraption called Nigeria. So somebody like Ape Babalola could use the same system to kidnap a citizen that he disagreed with, a citizen that sued him once, and he used the judiciary to crush the case from seeing the light of the day. So he's accused, he's exposed of his corruption and then the manipulation of the judiciary, and exactly what he did yesterday. He kidnapped this guy, took him, smuggled him to Ekiti, put him before a judge in Ekiti, and then a defamation case that is bailable automatically turned to a criminal case where his bail was denied. Exact thing that Dele Farotimi said. Right now, although people believe that a lot of people have been reacting. They have been reacting that something must be done. Release him now. Release him now. Meanwhile, there is already a global mobilization. There could be a big shutdown. Dele Farotimi will not be in that prison until the 10th of December, as ruled by one useless judge that is pretty much obeying the order of this old man. There is going to be a showdown, which is already brewing. I can assure you of that. While guys were having a space on that, or talking on space about this development yesterday, this particular chat was captured among people who are reacting. Please listen.
Some of the worst subjugation, suppression, and depression, in Nigeria's history by leaders who have turned rogues and become relics of some sort, who are just bent over heel to ensure that they crush the spirit of Nigerians against all odds. And like she rightly said, The game is not about defamation of character. This is not the first time. If there is anybody in the history of our nation, dead or alive, who has insulted and spoken, evil, whether rightly or wrongly, against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is his current spokesperson, who he has, ordered to work for him. And so we understand exactly what the stakes are. And my admonition is that we have to get ready, because even by holding this space tomorrow, you could hear that Dr. Mo has been picked. You have to be ready. And I remember when we marched on the street, immediately after the 2023 general election, even though we're just a few hundreds of people every day for over 23 days. I said, if I am gone down, you have to move. And what Dele is taking today, we'll do everything. People have come to the point that, yes, we'll not be able to come out. They better get ready to just kill each and every one of us, because in any case, this is not even life that we're living. And let history bear it, because it is the guts and blood and sweat of founding fathers. It's upon their fearlessness and their objectivity and decisiveness that countries like America, like Britain, like all the nations of the earth, like India, like Mahatma Gandhi, who refused to eat until he became a pack of bones, like Mandela, who spent not 23 months and days and weeks, but years in prison. If this regime has become such a tyrannical regime that wants to crush everybody, then we better die now, for the souls of people who will, upon the death, upon our blood, will rise up to build a nation where people can live freely and speak freely. If you check up Dele Farotimi's handle, what you see there is a victim of a nation that is not born. Nigeria has not been born yet. And that is why people die for their ethnic agendas. If you want people to die for Yoruba cause today, they will come out. If you want people to die for Igbo cause today, they will come out. If you want people to die for Fulani, for Hausa, for Tiv, for Idoma, for Birom cause, you will find people. But where are those who are ready to die for cause of Nigeria? Dele Farotimi is not a Yoruba man. He's a Nigerian. He dared every consequences against all odds. He speaks not for a man, but for a Nigeria that is not born. We're here today, connected by the blood of our shared unborn nation. And if you're listening, you better listen real good, because what connects us here is not tribe. What connects us here is not religion. And we have to reaffirm and re-educate and reorientate and keep releasing these words for each and every one of us to understand that we will continue to speak this truth and this power until it becomes evident in every living soul. And so if you're here today and you're a bigot listening to this, it is you we're speaking to, because we're here fighting for your soul. We're not here fighting for any tribe. We're not here fighting for any region. We're not here speaking for any religion. We're here talking about a Nigeria that has not been born, a Nigeria that has not had. We've had Buhari. Buhari was a northern president. Bola Ahmed Tinubu is a Yoruba president. We're not looking for an Igbo presidency. We're not looking for a tribal president. We're not looking for a police that is there for just the social elites and class of people who have money, so that when you are slapped today, you cannot go to a police station and find justice. We're not asking for a courtroom that is there that can be bought. That's not what we're asking for. We're not asking for old people who have lost their minds, like some of the laureates who can only fight, have money, so that when you are slapped today, you cannot go to a police station and find justice. We're not asking for a courtroom that is there that can be bought. That's not what we're asking for. We're not asking for old people who have lost their minds, like some of the laureates who can only fight for their tribe and for their ethnic leanings, who only understand their class. No, that's not what we're here for. We're fighting for a Nigeria that has not been born, represented, epitomized by Dele Farotimi. That's why we're here. And for that cause, we will speak. For that cause, we will march. For that cause, we will live. And if need be, we're ready to die. This is the Nigeria of our dream. This is the new Nigeria that Mr. Peter Obi keeps speaking about. This is the new Nigeria that we're talking about. This is why we're here. Beyond any rhetoric, we're not afraid. We cannot cower to bandits, political bandits, police bandits, bandits of tribal jingoism. This is not why we're here. And no, nobody should talk down on speaking on social media, because we're not just social media warriors. We're warriors all rounded. We will speak on the street as we will speak on social media, regardless of your location. Whether you're in America or you're in Abuja, whether you're in Zamfara or you're in Lagos. It doesn't matter if you're in Ekiti. We're connected by guts, by blood.
And for your information, the guy that is speaking in that audio is not a social media warrior. He's not ranting on Twitter. He has led matches. He was one of those that rejected the idea of just going to court when Peter Obi got rigged last year. Himself and hundreds of others, which some of you keypad warriors were laughing at. There's something I told you a while back, which I am going to say it again. There are some of you that are the real reason why there will never be a united front in confronting our oppressors. Because to some of you, if something is going to be done, it has to be done your way, even though some of you will never move an inch to really do anything. You are keypad warriors who have all the ideas. If they are not marching to break up Nigeria, I'm not joining them. Or you are not leading a march that will break up Nigeria. You are comfortably in that your bedroom, and then you are there judging others who are actually like making efforts. We are captured people, and we are not captured by foreigners. We are captured by the people that speaks like us, that looks like us, that possibly live with us. They are your supposed neo-colonists in black skins. So many of you, when you see those who claim to be pro-Nigeria, which is not this Nigeria, they are wasting their time. So that divided house or divided front is not to anybody's advantage other than your oppressors. And that is why they can match their soldiers to go and shoot at the Biafran campaigners, the Yoruba nation campaigners, as well as those who rejected the current status quo called Nigeria. So the only solution you know is your own solution. The revolution now believes that Nigeria can only be rescued this way through revolution, their own type of revolution. Other people's whatever means is not applicable. And guess what? It only works in the interest of these rogues. So we are still looking for that common ground where a lot of you will know that except this current establishment is totally destroyed and dismantled, we are all not going anywhere. None of us is going anywhere. It is to their own advantage. So you can sit down there as usual and begin to judge them. But there are people who have actually really stood up, confronted, faced the same barrel of guns of this supposed pseudo Democrats, APC, Egbetokun. They have been shot at, they have been arrested, they have been locked up without trial, they have been abused, they have been tortured, they have been traumatized, but many of them still never give up. Why some of you are seated there to judge them like you are doing right now? So that person talking there is not just talking on Twitter. He has led matches. The matches that millions of the rest of us possibly laughed at him or I laughed at them because they are not doing it our way. They should have done it in our own way. They should have, they should have marched to to break up Nigeria. They should have this, they should have that, they should have occupied this. But none of this, any of this idea is ever led by any of you. I just thought I should remind you. Let's finish what they're saying quickly.
By blood, by a ruthlessness of an understanding that our nation is not yet born and that we've never had a Nigerian president yet. All we have had are regional fathers, regional presidents, bigots of governorship, of chairmen, of ruthless people, lawless people. That's what we've had. We've not had